So the last time I went to Sky Zone Trampoline Park, it was for Rissa's her 11th birthday, and I was unprepared. And even though I had emptied or thought I had emptied my bladder twice, as soon as I got onto that trampoline, my baby stretched urethra gave up on the very first bounce. That's not to say that I gave birth through my urethra. Childbirth, of course, doesn't work that way. Contrary to what those of you who don't get proper sex education think, it's just that all of that pushing of a large baby head messes with all the pelvic muscles and, frankly, your ability to hold your pee. So I got to have one bounce. One spectacular fucking bounce. And then I watched pathetically from the sidelines as my husband and daughter gleefully experienced what to me appeared to be what must only be described as trampoline nirvana. David was a fucking jackalope bounding across all of those trampolines, bouncing off the walls, grinning manically the entire time. And me, I had done literally thousands of Kegel stretches or squeezes or whatever the hell they are through my pregnancy, continuing long afterwards, and I got one bounce. So when Rissa decided that for her 16th birthday this year, she wanted to go back to Sky Zone, I was all, yay, that's great, it'll be so much fun. And I know, I fully realize that as her mother, I should not even be concerned. I mean, it's not my fun, it's not my party, but as soon as Rissa mentioned this, David began to vibrate in anticipation of all the bouncing. He looks like Wallace from Wallace and Gromit when he thinks he might get something twitchy. But then I sucked it up. I allowed myself a little epiphany. I was going to be the mature one. I was going to take a stand. So I went to the pharmacy. I walked with purpose towards that incontinence aisle, and there were so many linear feet of incontinence care products. Where could I possibly start? Would a 2 be enough? If I decided on a 6, would I feel like I was a failure if I didn't fill the entire pad? So I settled on a level 4, thinking it was a good median range. And this was me being proactive. This was great. I was being a grown up. I was making a stand. I sashayed my perimenopausal ass over to the checkout and I slammed those puppies onto the counter of the young cashier, the young male, attractive cashier who up to moments ago had been watching me sashay and taking in a nice little look at my boobs as I made myself triumphantly towards the cash. And frankly, nothing says sexy like incontinence pads. I felt like saying, hey there, handsome. How do you like my boobs now? So we made our way to Sky Zone, and I suited up for the main event. And I am pleased to report that somewhere in the intervening 5 years, my pelvic floor muscles got a little bit stronger because I managed to bounce 3 times, before I peed my pants the first time. And to be honest, the first couple of times when I peed as I was bouncing, I had that panic, that public pee panic. But then I, looked surreptitiously down and I kind of felt down with my hand to make sure that I didn't have this massive wet spot, and then I was good. I didn't care. I didn't have to care because I was sporting a poise pad. If I wanted to do a bum drop, there was no problem. If I wanted to bounce off the wall, it was totally doable. I managed to bounce from tramp to tramp to tramp to the wall and back to the tramp. And although I was squirting pee the entire time I was doing it, it didn't matter because I was totally prepared because I was wearing a miniature diaper. My yoga pants were still dry. And the only thing that stopped me was my middle-aged body that after 20 minutes said, "What are you thinking? Are you crazy?" But I stopped and I was exhilarated. I was sweaty. I was exhausted. I was laughing maniacally. It was fantastic. And it was all because of Poise Pets. So thank you, Poise Pets. Sincerely, a wet spot free and truly satisfied customer.